Listen to this quick clip that came out from the Palantir CTO that basically reinsures my belief on why Palantir is a top performer in the AI space.
And you take 3 hours, it's going to be a fundamental dislocation in the market.
I was just going to ask, because IBM is going after enterprise, and Google and Microsoft, they're all going after these enterprise systems for changing how corporations operate and getting them more productive and efficient. So what do you do that they can't?
Well, I think what the market realizes is nobody wants to be on the self-driving car journey. We had a prototype self-driving car in 2005. It drove 120 miles through the desert. 20 years later, we have commercial service in 3 cities. You know, that's not a rewarding journey. So all the value is going to accrete to the companies who have built the tool chain that allows you to get to production quickly. And we've spent the better part of a decade building exactly that.
Although the self-driving thing has...
Couldn't say it any better right there, saying that Palantir is building the tool chain, basically comparing it to, they're not digging for the gold, they're selling the shovels. Looking at that in terms of an AI perspective. And that's really powerful. And we're seeing that's actually coming to fruition right before our eyes, as Palantir Technologies is even up over 1% today, including the after hours, in light of a red market in an inflation report that came out warmer than expected. Palantir is still accumulating in its price action, closing at these record highs. We're going to be talking about what does this mean for Palantir. We have some important market data to really analyze in terms of a lot of volatility that could come depending on the probability of future interest rate cuts. And we're going to be talking about what's also happening with NVIDIA. A lot of things to cover. So if you are a new or returning viewer, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for daily videos. Of course, not a financial advisor, collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Dispatching it to you. Now, Palantir Technologies closes here at 43.52, doing incredibly well. We can see after the S&P 500 inclusion effect, we're continuing to see those governmental and the commercial platform, partnerships and contracts, the AIP platform that is continuing to accelerate and bring a lot of exposure to multiple different businesses. The story is just continuing to pave its own path. What we see for Palantir is approaching that $100 billion market cap and what that's going to mean. More specifically, I want to talk about some volatility and what we could expect in terms of the bullish action, the bearish action, and holding. What are these different perspectives? Where's everybody coming from? And what are we seeing in terms of a technical basis? Now, we have this interesting article here from Seeking Alpha talking about even after the rally saying that there's still room for more upside, that Palantir's technical indicators show a potential consolidation at 46, which would be pretty insane. Remember, Palantir has a lot of consolidation and support actually at the 36, but they're saying calling it here at the 46 with an optimistic price target of $55. Now, they're saying here with an 80% chance of a positive return in October, Palantir seasonality trend support further upside. Now, the investment thesis and specifically Palantir stock, why they're talking about this momentum right here. They're particularly, from a technical perspective, looking at the Fibonacci level and utilizing the Fibonacci charts, talking about this potential consolidation and then a further optimistic target movement to $55, aligning with the ratio of 1.382 on the Fibonacci level, which is a strong bullish signal indicating an extended upward trend. And you see pessimistic targets at $38. That is still pretty high for a pessimistic at the 0.618. So just looking at a Fibonacci chart right here. Also, this article is talking about the relative strength index coming in here at 76. Notably high, signaling that PLTR is in an overbought territory. And that doesn't sound too surprising with the amount of momentum that we've seen in the recent few trading sessions. However, the absence of the bullish and the bearish divergence suggests that the current upward trend may still have momentum. And we're seeing just a lot of demand and a lot of institutional movement, retail movement, and price discovery zones coming into Palantir. So optimistic price targets. Now let's talk about what does the bearish side of things say, because that is also important. The risk for downside at these all-time high levels is decently high, especially after we're going to be talking about as Wall Street edges back from its records that we've been seeing being seen set after each trading session. Now, the sell case for Palantir, one of the big things that they've been talking about, this article specifically, is talking about Peter, Alex selling lots and lots, millions of dollars worth of Palantir shares. Means that they think it's at good profits at the $35. That's kind of basically where they kind of sold, is around 35, 37. Picking up on their selling right here, seemingly triggered by the stock's rise in price, leading possibly to them signaling, hey, this is at a high valuation. They're taking advantage of the high market cap, or the high valuation. That is a big perspective. Also talking about that and how this correlates to the high price to sales multiple of 26. And what you're specifically seeing here, this is a high margin software. A SaaS companies, they can command high multiples. But they're saying here, but a forward price to sales multiple of 26 for a company that grew 27% last quarter, the saying is a little bit too extreme. So that's what you're seeing right now in terms of entry points at Palantir at these all-time highs. That's where the riskiness comes in. You've had insiders that have recently sold, and you also have just high, crazy valuations. But for the holders, doing very well. And that's because Palantir could generate sales of about $6 billion in 2027 if it manages that kind of yearly growth rate of about 30% in the next 3 years. Now, this is at a rate that's higher than its current price and at a price to sales multiple of 15, the same as CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike price would be about 41, close to where it trades, talking about that. But specifically, it really depends with what's your timeline, what's your risk assessment, and also has a heavy weight on what's happening in the market right now. And this is where we're going to be talking about important things in terms of the broader markets. Inflation comes in a touch warmer last month than that was expected, and more workers are filing for unemployment benefits than last week. We see the markets that come down ever so slightly, doing fairly well, holding some resilience right here, but closing in the red. Now, we've had a lot of excitement from investors across the board, expecting that the Federal Reserve is going to continue to cut interest rates. And lower rates usually ease the brakes off the economy and juice prices for investments. It's just easier to borrow money. Lending costs cheaper, money is cheaper, more buying power. But the pace of the further cuts will depend on this inflation rate and if it continues to head towards, remember, that Fed's 2% target price. Now, Thursday report, what it specifically showed? It showed that inflation slowed to 2.4% in September from 2.5% in August. However, the market was expecting a sharper slowdown, not fully encompassing probably the trends that we're talking about for food, gas, other energy prices are at very high levels right there. And at the same time, you got 258,000 U.S. workers filing for unemployment benefits that week. So that is relatively low compared to history, but was a sharper acceleration than what was expected. We're all talking about perspective right here. We see treasury yields that have rose, and traders are really convinced on the Fed going to cut its interest rate by the traditional size of a 0.25 percentage points. But we are now seeing an increase. This is where it gets important. Some are holding on to bets that it could leave the federal funds rate alone in November. Reason being is because a lot of the investors are pricing a 25 basis point cut last month, but they came out surprised everybody with the 50 basis point cut. And with that, the Fed does not want to move too aggressive. It'll be interesting to see what happens. If this continues, I could see the Fed possibly holding rates if we continue to see inflation that comes in a little bit warmer than what analysts are expecting. On top of that, you have NVIDIA still doing well, sitting at around these all-time highs. We've kind of covered NVIDIA at the end of the video. Sitting at 134, up about 1.6%. Doing well in terms of a red broad market that we saw today. A big catapult, I think, was that because the Blackwell AI processors, their new AI chip that they're working on, they're sold out for the next 12 months. So if you want one, you're going to have to wait a good amount of time. The executives come out here and say that the next generation AI processors progressing on schedule, the products are sold out for the next 12 months. This is why, meanwhile, NVIDIA stock is nearing a buy point. You see a lot of reassurance here. NVIDIA continues to dominate the chip market. We will see what happens, but it just shows the demand that's behind AI, and things are continuing to really grow. That's all that I have for you guys. What do you think about Palantir? Do you think that $55 price target is optimistic, too optimistic, or do you think there's the chance we could see a big correction in the market depending on how inflation and possibly profit-taking cascades could interfere? That's all that I have for you guys. Peace out, take care, and have a wonderful night.